Alright guys, I'm back.
Not to be...
Where? Can I just turn that off? If you guys noticed, I have an anime recommendation that just kind of came out today. I schedule those sometimes in advance, so they come out on specific days. There is no actual schedule in general for those. I kind of just put them out when I can, when I have them made. Those ones take me a lot more time to do, so I don't really have a schedule on them. But anyways, let's get into today's gaming news. I was just gonna say anime news, but there's one story in this that can be considered anime because it was an IGN article, and I just thought, why the hell not? Anyway, so Nintendo hacker Gary Bowser, released from prison, still owes millions, so Nintendo effectively ruined this man's life. He's gonna have his wages garnished. Wages garnished for like the rest of his life, because Gary Bowser, man, sentenced in 2021, so 40 months in prison, so that's roughly 3 to 4 years. I'm pretty sure 3. And a $14.5 million fine for his role. This man's been in prison for 4 years. The fine's kind of unnecessary. If you were gonna charge this guy and use him as a lightning rod for the whole hacking group, which I'm pretty sure the YouTubers are talking about, I suggest you give him more years in prison and drop the fine. But this man's effectively gonna be punished for the rest of his life. I understand what he did was wrong, you know what I mean? But still. He's not even the main person in the group. He's just one of the lackeys. Was, anyways, past tense. $14.5 million fine for his role in Nintendo hacking group team executive has just been released from jail, but it's possible the massive amount of money he now owes in restitution may impact the entire rest of his life and livelihood. Well, yeah. I tell you, man, when Nintendo goes after someone for real, they're serious. They don't screw around. Anyway, so that's basically what's going on with that situation. This guy's pretty much gotten his entire life ruined. Anyways, moving on. Pokemon Pro. This is one that I could probably throw in an anime video, but I'm choosing not to, only because it was an IGN article. Pokemon prolific voice for Team Rocket Gary Oak and more retires due to. This guy played more than one character in the Pokemon anime. My God. Retires due to throat cancer. I think it was throat cancer. Yeah. I kind of find it interesting that this news is now coming out now, which means he probably toughed it out until the end of the current Pokemon anime and onto the new one, because they're probably not bringing back these old characters anytime soon at all. I don't think, if we ever see Ash in the future, the Pokemon company was saying, we may bring Ash back. I think we're going to see him back in the movies, to be honest with you, but I don't think we're going to see him back in the anime, unless something goes horribly wrong, and then they want to go back to the roots. But outside of that, I don't think they're going to bring him back out in the... I mean, they may see an appearance of him in the anime at some point, but I don't think... You know what I mean? I think he's going to be relegated to the movies, is why they said that. That's just me thinking, though. Ghostwire Tokyo runs worse on Xbox Series X and S than PlayStation 5, report says. Which is baffling because it's a Bethesda title. A new performance breakdown shows issues from the PlayStation 5 version are still present a year later. Ghostwire Tokyo recently landed on Xbox consoles after a year of PlayStation 5 exclusivity, which you're bound to not see that very often anymore now that they own Bethesda now. But technical breakdowns show that many of the game's performance issues are still present a year later. Even worse, the title seems to generally perform worse on Xbox Series X. Those issues include a dizzying array of graphical options, most of which Digital Foundry does not recommend due to their effects on performance rather than the choice between optimized performance or quality modes, as well as noticeable input lag and regular frame dips, even when playing on performance modes. Ghostwire Tokyo on Series S hits frame rates in the low 40s rather than its target of 60. Be sure to check out Digital Foundry's video on the full technical breakdown. Yeah, that's not exactly good for a lot of these AAA games that are coming out. They advertise 60 FPS, you know what I mean? And, certainly, in a lot of cases, the current console technology, specifically the Series X and PlayStation 5, are capable of at least going over that. They're 120 FPS consoles taking out the graphics part of it if you choose to go that route. So they're capable of doing 120 FPS if you sacrifice graphics for a great deal. So they shouldn't be doing that. You know what I mean? But you know, advertise and then go back on that advertisement. You know what I mean? Anyways, Dead Island 2 crossplay and co-op explained. Dead Island 2, like many games... Oh, whoops. Dead Island 2, like many games, is probably going to be a better experience with friends by your side. Here's what you need to know about Dead Island 2's crossplay and co-op modes. And I believe on the base Xbox One S and 1, and PlayStation 4, those 3 consoles you can't host from, you can only invite, from what they said. Dead Island 2 support cross-gen play, meaning PlayStation 4 and PS5 players can play together, while Xbox One, Xbox Series XS players can do the same. Players must call the Cavalry mission in order to begin cooperative play on online English, which is around 30 minutes into the game. Stating that base Generation 8 consoles, PlayStation 4, my bad, 1S and 1 will not be able to host the game at launch, but they will be able to join it. There you go. Players must be on either PlayStation 5, Series XS, PC to host a game. The developer did not note that PlayStation 4 Pro and Xbox One X players will also be able to host co-op games, and explains that it's working on giving the options to host on all consoles in the future. So, any of the Xbox... any of the consoles outside of the Xbox One S, like the VCR one, and the PlayStation 4, the base PlayStation 4, you can't host on. So, this is out today. It just came out today, Dead Island 2, so I looked at the release date the other day. I don't know why I didn't post it or this time. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't for certain new games. Former Halo boss Joseph Staten joins Netflix to make AAA multi-platform games. So, I mentioned this earlier today on my Twitter, or not today, a while back, sometime this week recently. But Staten previously served as major creative force behind Halo at Bungie, obviously, and most recently helped developer 343 Industries release Halo Infinite. Joseph Staten, one of the core creative minds behind Halo, has joined Netflix as creator-director of a new AAA multi-platform game that will be based on an original IP. So we got one of the minds of Halo working on something on Netflix. You guys basically get the gist of this one. Moving on, I'm trying to keep this under 16 minutes as much as possible, which I'm incredibly bad at. Anyway, so Xbox cluttered home dashboard is getting changes following complaints. And this is in complaints to the fact that you can't see your background. So if you guys are in the Xbox Insider program for the most part, you get the newest UI changes and updates and stuff like that. And apparently they were complaining about the fact that the background's even worse than it was before, because you can't see it. But following complaints by the community of being it too cluttered, Microsoft has said it is going to change course and on planned changes to the Xbox Home dashboard, and they're basically falling back on a lot of the changes they made. In September 2022, Microsoft announced that the Xbox insiders were to be invited to help shape the new Xbox Home experience. That this test was a multi-month series of experience to learn how to create a more personalized home screen experience and address some of the top trends and fan requests. Unfortunately, the changes haven't been as well received as Microsoft had hoped, and the company in a blog post said it is pausing those experiments and will work to balance the experience, accessibility, function, and the needs of our community, bringing a great and refreshed home experience. And what they need to do is that they need to have like tabs where you click those tabs, and then it brings out the list of tabs for that for what specifically you're looking for, so you don't have it all over the freaking home screen. I mean, it's pretty standardized design. I would imagine easier to understand. This is kind of crazy right here. I'm already used to it at this point, but still, you can't see your background. You just have customized in there. Especially now that you have interactive backgrounds now on here. I have my Xbox on right now in the background. Sorry about that, guys. I have a bug detector on, and it was on the entire time. As this video so far. Alright, moving on. That was the same thing. Alright, Sony acquires AAA multiplayer developer Firewall Studios. Another multiplayer-focused studio joins PlayStation. PlayStation announced that it has acquired Firewall Studios and that the studio still had it work on its first original AAA multiplayer game. This comes after PlayStation and Firewall Studios announced back in 2021 that they had formed a partnership to publish the aforementioned multiplayer game. Yeah, just basically, they bought them out. I mean, ShMoR Studios being bought out by Sony and Microsoft. In this case, Sony, but you know what I mean. Sony is quietly raising prices on its games on Steam in certain regions. Returnal Marvels, Spider-Man, Horizon Zero Dawn, and God of War are all impacted, of course. Argentina, Canada, Chile, China, Colombia, Japan, South Korea. Sony hasn't officially announced the price jumps for the PlayStation games on Steam. It's unknown if the price increase on Steam will affect the prices in other digital and physical retail storefronts in respective regions, or whether even more regions can expect to see similar. They're gonna do it. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. There's no way they're not, because they're already raising the digital prices in the countries. Although physical releases tend to be a bit cheaper, so I don't know. But you know the way the world is today, I wouldn't be surprised. Moving on. Xbox is working on a mystery franchise sequel that may take decades to develop, and by God, hopefully it's not Elder Scrolls 6, because if that's the case, I'm going to be waiting until about 20 years for my Fallout 5 to come out, you know what I mean? These AAA video games are taking longer and longer to make these days, and Microsoft is apparently working on a video game sequel that may take upwards of 10 years to develop. This came out of the court documents with the Activision Blizzard case. Halo Infinite, a recent title from Microsoft's first-party Halo franchise, was in production, redacted, and cost almost, redacted, millions to develop and bring to market. Other AAA games take even longer to develop. For instance, according to one Microsoft executive, redacted, a fourth title from the redacted franchise may take a decade to develop. So it's a long-established franchise, guys. This is basically a repeat of what I just read, but the lawyers involved in this case have access to private internal Microsoft information. The sensitive details are then redacted, and when the documents are released to the public, it seems very possible this unknown title could simply be Elder Scrolls 6, the long-awaited Skyrim follow-up, which still in the design phase as of 2021, as Todd Howard and the Bethesda Game Studios focus on upcoming Starfield. Starfield is nearing a decade in development. As Howard has said, Bethesda began production on the game in 2015. So a Microsoft executive projecting a decade-long development cycle for the next Elder Scrolls is certainly plausible. And this is why they need to start licensing out Fallout to other studios to work on, because if the next time they get another Fallout game, I'm freaking 40 at this point, you know what I mean? I'm going to be 27 this year, guys, just for reference. A decade, and it's in the planning phase, and let's just assume 10 years, and not any delay. You're looking at 10 years plus. So when they finally start working on Fallout 5, which they already said, Todd Howard said they're going to be working on Fallout after Elder Scrolls 6. So that's easily 10 years. Another 10 years maybe? So that's 20 years, guys. I'm going to be 40 by that point, you know what I mean? Jeez. Game development. But there's no way that they're not going to have other studios working on Fallout IP, whether they can't right now. It just makes sense, because otherwise you're not going to get the next Fallout game for another 20 years. That's insane. That's assuming if that's true. I doubt, it's just all based on speculation from my part, you know what I mean? That's 20 years for the next Fallout game if that's true. Anyways, moving on here. Square Enix triples down on blockchain with new deal even as other publishers flee, of course. It's partnering with the Web3 platform Elixir to promote blockchain games to traditional gamers. Yeah, that's not going to work out very well. While many gaming companies largely got the hint last year that gamers aren't keen on blockchain, yeah, they should be taking that hint too. NFTs and all that Web3 entails, Square Enix doesn't seem to have absorbed the message yet, and is demonstrating this today via a partnership with the Web3 gaming platform, Elixir, with the intent of generating visibility and adoption of Web3 games among traditional gamers. And one thing that I hate, that Nintendo started hiring for blockchain in games too, or specifically NFTs, I think, something like that. And I'm not exactly thrilled about that, for not specifically the Pokemon company, I think, did. Or they were talking about putting NFTs in Pokemon. I don't know if it was Nintendo that hired. I don't know. I'll have to remember that article very well, just off the top of my head. The official announcement is light on details as to what exactly these two companies will be doing together, calling this a strategic partnership intended to provide mass adoption of Web3 gaming during 2023. Elixir itself, a PC game distribution platform, it puts Web3 games and regular games side by side with little to distinguish between them. Notably, earlier this year, Elixir integrated into the Epic Games Store to allow users to play any game in their Epic Games library. Next to your fave Web3 games, basically the idea seems to be that... need to breathe. If it stuffs enough non-Web3 games next to the Web3 games, players won't be able to tell the difference and will get really, really into Web... I don't know how that's going to work for you guys. People just don't like NFTs. I don't think you understand, and especially in games. I don't know. These people are psychotic. They don't seem to get that people don't like this stuff. Anyways, that's all for today, guys. Already 20 minutes, so yeah, broke that real quick. Any news I don't get here, I'll post on my Twitter, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye. As always, sources used in the video will be in the description below. Drop me a like and subscribe. If you like my videos, please ring the bell. I'd greatly appreciate it. Any news I don't get here, I'll post on my Twitter, and I'll see you guys in the next video.